Hello friends, my name's Maddie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For today's video, I'm going to be going over all the books that I think are perfect beach reads. I've seen so many people recommending beach reads, and they're books to me that there's way too much world building and they're too heavy of topics to be reading at the beach. Because in my opinion, a perfect beach read is a book that is carefree and light, and maybe it has a little bit serious topic, but nothing like super we're not reading Song of Achilles on the beach, friends, okay? That is not a good beach read. Hello, I don't want to be crying at the beach. I don't want to be getting sand in my eyes or chlorine in my eyes because I'm crying, or sunscreen in my eyes. I don't want to have a single thought as I'm baking like a baked potato outside. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. One of the first books I'm going to recommend is One Italian Summer by Rebecca Surley. So this is about Katie, whose mother dies, and all Katie's wanted to do is go to Italy. And to me, this book is a perfect beach read because there is a little bit of magical realism in it. So if you're looking for a fantasy itch, this is a great one. And this book has never made me want to go to Italy so bad in my life. In the magical realism aspect of this book, Katie runs into her mother when she's much younger, when her mother had gone to Italy and has always told her stories about Italy. So she's kind of seeing her mother through a different lens. And again, this book, it's set in Italy. It's beautiful. If you want to feel like you're in Italy, this is a great beach read. And the next book I'm going to recommend is going to be Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. So this is about Persephone, who swears she's never going to go back to her hometown, and when her friend's mother Sam dies, she goes back to the funeral. It shows the course of 6 summers of her and Sam falling in love, and you figure out what happened and why Persephone suddenly like drops everything and is no longer speaking to Sam. And there are some aspects of this book that I really liked, but one aspect that I did love was the vibe of this book. Carly Fortune does so well with her settings, and this book it screams summer, it screams lake house, it screams just having fun, and you know, all the elements that we know and love about summer. Maybe you want a little bit more chaos in your summer. I highly recommend Magnolia Parks. This book is absolutely fantastic. Just know that it's like Gossip Girl meets England, and it's just so fun and chaotic, and it'll definitely pull you in and suck you in, and you'll just want to keep reading. It is very mindless and carefree. It is a bit emotional, but it is very, you know, in the best way possible, mindless. So you're following Magnolia Parks and her chaotic friend group, and I absolutely really love this book. The first book you're not too sure on, it's okay, just push through it and keep reading because it'll all make sense at some point for you. It is so much fun, and it's just very luxurious and rich. And if you want to feel like you're living in a different society, highly recommend this one. The next book I'm going to recommend is a Kindle Unlimited read as well, and it is The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. So this is about Olive and Ethan, who are their brother and sister just got married, and the couple is supposed to set off to a all-expense paid trip to Hawaii, but everyone except for Olive and Ethan are sick. So in their stead, they send Olive and Ethan to go on this honeymoon together, even though they absolutely hate each other. And so they're in Hawaii for like 2 weeks, and there's one room, and they are enjoying each other's company, and it's so much fun. And again, it has all the summer vibes. It's set in Hawaii, so they're doing all these fun little adventure trips, and it's funny and very romantic, and they're kind of being like pushed together by everyone at the resort because everyone else thinks they just got married and that they're honeymooners. So it's just a fantastic read, and it was just really, really fun and lighthearted. Another book that I'm going to recommend is going to be Love Redesigned. This is also on Kindle Unlimited. So this is about Julian and Dahlia. Julian is a architect and Dahlia is a interior designer, and they are being forced to work on a project together. On top of that, their mothers really, really want them to be together, so they're constantly pushing and asking about each other. And I think this book is just really funny. It's really well done. It does have some heavier aspects to it, but they're handled very well. In this book in particular, it's handling grief and the loss of parents and just kind of dealing with that and the aftermath and how it changed them. But I think this book is so super fun, and again, it's just a perfect read because it's happening in this little lake town and it's very sweet and romantic and almost cozy. Again, if you are feeling you want a fantasy book, Assistant to the Villain. So this is about Evie, who is the assistant's villain, and she's kind of helping him out with all his little schemes, and someone is after the villain and is trying to take him out. So it's very like a cozy, almost fantasy romance. It's pretty funny, so there's definitely some romantic comedy elements to it, but again, it's nothing too heavy, nothing too serious, not tons of world building. It's very easy to follow, and it's just overall just a really funny, good time. The next Kindle Unlimited book I'm going to recommend is going to be The Bodyguard by Catherine Center. This is about Hannah, who looks like she's a kindergarten teacher, but she is actually the bodyguard. Someone is after Jack, and when his mother gets sick or injured, to go undercover, Hannah pretends to date Jack and be his girlfriend, and obviously they're fake dating. So Hannah is very serious, she's very strict, and she's trying to fight her feelings for Jack, even though their relationship feels so real to her, and even for him it feels very real and very natural for them, and they trust each other a lot. So he's kind of like telling her things about his past and about his story, and eventually he becomes more than a client to her, and it's just really, really sweet, and I really enjoyed this book. It's very short as well, so you could definitely read it in one sitting. Next book I'm going to recommend that is also on Kindle Unlimited is Austin Heat by Amari Nilix. And this is about Jake, who is a star football player, and he's trying to escape this image of being a playboy and a party boy, and he seeks out Raquel, who is an escort, and she is also trying to get away from her lifestyle. And she is hired to be his long-term girlfriend, and so they're both kind of like manipulating each other a little bit because they both think each other is a normal person, and like they're not. Like, he's super popular and she's an escort, and like they're kind of hiding it from one another. This is just really chaotic and really fun, and again, very mindless and like the perfect beach read because there is so much drama happening, and it's very captivating, and you just really love the characters and their friends and all of that fun stuff. But overall, it's just a really great book. The next two books I'm going to recommend are by Abby Jimenez, and it's going to be part of your world and yours truly. So the first book is about an ER doctor who is not living up to her parents' expectations, and when her car breaks down in the middle of nowhere, she runs into the owner of the Airbnb and she stays for the weekend. It's all about kind of living this work-life balance and soul searching, and while it is very has some emotional impact to it and some more so internal plot than an external plot, I think it's just really well done, and it's just such a fun, fantastic read, and I am on the Abby Jimenez boat, and I'm here for it. I'm not going anywhere. And yours truly is about Brianna, who is also an ER doctor, and she has a very meet ugly with the new ER doctor, Jacob. Brianna absolutely now despises Jacob, and Jacob cannot figure out why, and he also has social anxiety. So the two of them start writing letters back and forth to each other, and it's just so sweet. And one day Brianna says, I just want someone to write yours truly at the end of a letter. And when he finally does it, it's so sweet and it's so good. But Brianna has a lot going on in her life. Her brother has kidney failure and is balancing a divorce and is gunning for this job that she also thinks Jacob is gunning for, but Jacob is not gunning for this job. It was just a miscommunication, and I just really loved their relationship. It was so super sweet, and I love Jacob as a main character. The next book I'm going to recommend is by Krista and Becca Ritchie, and this is also on Kindle Unlimited, but it's under two titles. So it was originally published as Amor Amor, which is what I read it as, and then it got republished as The Failed Audition. So I believe on Kindle Unlimited it is The Failed Audition, but on some like book tracking sites, like on my book tracking sites, it's still Amor Amor. This is about Thora, who wants to be a acrobatist, and she absolutely bombs her audition to be in this show, like a Circus Olay show in Las Vegas, and that's when she meets Nikolai, and he spends all of his time teaching her, and I absolutely love it because he's like Russian or something, so he's very like boom boom boom, and she's very kind of like really just works hard and is driven and wants to reach her goal, but she just didn't have the right tools to it. So now that she has Nikolai kind of like gunning with her, they're just an absolutely perfect match, and it's so beautiful, and their connection and is amazing, and the way this book is written, and it's just so fun and like entertaining. And I would read 10 books of this series. I'm being so honest. I would read 10 books of this series if I could. They have a very whimsical, action-packed storytelling, so a lot happens in their books, and I just think it's a fantastic read. It's very easy to like flip through. The next book I'm gonna read, which is also a Kindle Unlimited, is Does It Hurt by H.D. Carlton. So this is about Sawyer and Enzo, who they absolutely hate each other, and they get stranded at this lighthouse where there is the lighthouse manager is after both of them. So Enzo's trying to get to Sawyer, Sawyer's just trying to survive, and then you have this random lighthouse guy who's evil and is like trying to unalive both of them. This is obviously a darker romance, so if you're looking for a more darker romance, I highly recommend this one. There's a lot of like smutty scenes in it, and they're very intense smutty scenes, and it was a fun read for me. I enjoyed it. But if you're looking for a more spooky aspect to your books, this is definitely one to pick up this summer. My next Kindle Unlimited recommendation is actually going to be a series, and that is the Nashville Neighborhood series by Nikki Sloan. A lot of these books are age gap romances or like forbidden romance. So there's one that's like a boyfriend's dad, one is like a best friend's mom. So there's a bunch of different age dynamics going on in these books. I've read the first 3. I don't think I've read the frat boy or the good girl, but I've read the other 3 or 4, whatever they are. But they're very short, so they're super easy to like read in one sitting. They're only like 200 pages each, I believe. I might be wrong on that. But Nikki Sloan, again, is just a very fun writer. They're just very entertaining books, and again, there's always kind of a bit of a forbidden aspect to them, so if that's more so your vibe, definitely recommend checking these out. The next book I'm going to recommend is a rom-com called The Roommate by Rosie Danan. And so The Roommate is about Clara, who is convinced by her crush to move across the country, and she's gonna live with him. Except when she gets to this apartment, her crush is not there. He has bailed on her, and he is now living with this complete stranger named Josh. And it turns out that Josh is a porn star. I laughed about as hard as you did just now. Imagine that. That'd be quite the surprise. So you have a forced proximity situation going on, and so she's very attracted to him, and she is like always in her head because he's with all these beautiful women all the time, and it turns out that he really likes her as well. And there is one aspect that I really loved about this book, and that is the female empowerment and kind of encouraging women to enjoy sex, and they kind of like stick it to the man a bit when it comes to like the sex working industry, and they are working to kind of help women find their empowerment pretty much, and I just really enjoyed that aspect of the book as well, on top of it being a romantic comedy, so I thought it was a really good time. There is a second book to this series. I have not picked it up, but I am definitely going to. Next books I have to recommend is Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas. So this is about Jordan, who boyfriend is a complete mess and he's awful to her, and they move in with his dad, Pike, and Pike is the best. We love Pike. So they're both basically supposed to help around the house all the time, and Jordan is front loading most of the work, and when Pike realizes that, he kind of like helps her out. But they have a very like slow burn romance, and I so thoroughly enjoyed this book. This is one of my first Penelope Douglas books, and probably one of my first age gap books too. But I just love Pike and Jordan's connection to one another. I think that he kind of gives her the tools that she needs to be successful, and kind of wants what is best for her, because she's always kind of put other people first. And if you're looking for a lot of drama and a lot of angst, I highly recommend Hush Hush by Lucia Franco. So this is about Audrey, who is convinced by her best friend pretty much and her roommate to become a escort, and it's a very luxurious industry, in a very luxurious world that she's thrown into. And then she meets James, and she's not allowed to date clients, but she is absolutely infatuated with him. He's infatuated with her, and they're not allowed to date. So there's this bit of like push and pull, and like we should be together, and like we can't be together. And to me, it's really romantic, and I love Lucia Franco's writing. I think she does a great job writing friendships and like character dynamics and character fights that aren't between couples, but like between friends or between family. Just her dialogue is really funny and really witty, and I think it's like executed really well. But this one is also on Kindle Unlimited, and I highly recommend you checking it out this summer. One of the last books I'm going to recommend is In a Jam by Kate Canterbury, and this is a fantastic close proximity book. And so this is about Shay, who is set to inherit her great-grandmother's farm, but she can't do that until she is married. And with her fiance just bailing on her, she runs into Noah, who's kind of been running the farm for the grandmother. And so they're running this business together, and Noah is also raising his niece. And then on top of that, Noah had been in love with Shay since they were in high school together, and he would write her letters, and she had no idea who it was. And this book is just so adorable and sweet and very cozy, and it does deal with some certain elements because he is raising his niece, and so it's dealing kind of with like not adoption, but like parenting. It deals with parenting because he has to parent his niece. But I just love how these characters fit into each other's lives and turn each other's lives upside down. And I think it's just so sweet and adorable, and I love Kate Canterbury, so I can't wait for you all to pick up this book by the pool. So these next books are books that I plan to read over the summer. These aren't books that I've read before, but I'm very interested in picking them up, and maybe you'll add them to your TBR too. One of the first books I want to pick up is by my favorite Abby Jimenez, and that is Just for the Summer. So this is about Justin, who puts out this Reddit thread that basically says that every time he breaks up with his girlfriend, they end up finding the love of their life like right after. And there is a girl named Emma who replies and is like, I have this same curse. Every time I break up with my ex-boyfriend ends up finding the love of their life. So they set out to date each other, and they will break up and end up finding the love of their life afterwards. But of course these two fall in love together. So I think it's very sweet. It's called Just for the Summer, so I'm hoping it'll be very summery vibes. One of the next books I want to pick up this summer that I said I wasn't going to pick up, and there is world building in it, and I'm going to shoot myself in the foot for it, but it is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I have told myself I'm not going to read it, but my friend Michelle and I have decided that yes, we are in fact going to read it this summer, so eventually I will pick up this bad boy. But this is, everyone knows about Fourth Wing, so I'm not going to say anything about it, but it's about dragons and Hogwarts and like a Hogwarts-like system, and all I know is Violet's very small and she's a crybaby. That's all I know. Oh God, help me. Lord help me. The next book I want to pick up is Wild Love by Elsie Silver, and this is about Rosie, who is Ford's best friend's little sister, and he's kind of always had like a thing for her, but they're like not allowed to date. Ford just set up a record company in their like hometown, and he hires her, so they're kind of working together. I am about like halfway through this book. I am really enjoying it so far. Ford is also a newly single dad because this like 12-year-old girl is like, you're my dad, and he's just going along with it. So it's been interesting so far, but I'll see if I continue to like it. Another Kate Canterbury book that I really want to read this summer is Shucked, about Beckett, who is taking care of a oyster bar and is after his best friend's little sister, Sunny. They're rivals, they're complete opposites, they're off limits, and I guess they're having like a summery fling, and there's some, it sounds really interesting. I really enjoyed Kate Canterbury, and I really loved In a Jam, so I'm sure I will absolutely adore this one. Next book I would really love to pick up is That Summer Feeling by Bridget Morrissey. I think I said that right. So this is about a woman who attends a sleepaway camp for adults, and she's not sure what to believe anymore after her husband gives her divorce papers on Valentine's Day. And she rooms with someone's sister, Stevie, who is a vibrant former park ranger, as charming as she is competitive. Summer camp doesn't last forever, and if Garland can trust her heart, the love she finds there just might. So it sounds really interesting. So it's like a sleepaway summer camp for adults, and obviously Stevie and Garland fall in love, and I think it's really, really sweet, and I'm very excited to get to this one. So the next book I would like to read is The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston. This is about a overworked publicist with a perfectly planned future when she falls in love with her temporary roommate. I wonder if this has a magical realism element to it, because it sounds like she existed 7 years ago and she's 7 years into his future. I don't know, it just sounds so beautiful and like magical. There's this wording in here. Her aunt always said the apartment was a pension time, a place where moments blended together like watercolors. I don't know, there's something just so poetic about that sentence. I really like that sentence. So I'm very excited to eventually get to this one. So the next book I really would like to pick up is Older by Jennifer Hartman, because I really enjoy Jennifer Hartman. She writes a lot of like darker romances, and I wonder how this one will come into play, because this one doesn't exactly sound like a dark romance. So this is about Haley, and she is like falling in love with her best friend's dad. Oh, okay, maybe it is because he found her drowning in a lake. So yeah, this might be a little bit darker. It's a Jennifer Hartman book, what did I expect? But I am very excited to get to this one. There's like a girl swimming on the cover, so I thought this would be very summery, but it sounds like she was trying to die in a lake. I guess we'll see. So the next book that I would really love to pick up this summer is That Kind of Guy by Stephanie Archer. So this is about a fake fiance romance, and they're very opposites attract. Emmett is supposed to be a golden retriever, and the female main character is sharp and snarky. But he's gonna co-sign on her restaurant if she plays his fiance. So I wonder how that will kind of come into play. But it looks like a super adorable like romantic comedy, so we'll see what I'm getting myself into. And the last book that I really want to pick up this summer that I think is going to be a really great beach read is going to be Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I just read Good Material. I wasn't a huge fan of it, but this I know is an autobiographical book about like her relationships and love and family and all that fun stuff. So I'm very excited to see how that all comes into play and what Dolly has to say about love, pretty much. And that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Please feel free to like and subscribe to see more bookish content, and we can talk more about books. Please feel free to leave a comment down below telling me what your favorite beach read is going to be this summer. I hope you have a fantastic day. Goodbye!